elements are classified on the basis of their interpolation polynomial, that is linear elements and higher order elements. The elements having degree 1 are linear, elements having degree more than 1 are higher order. Then we have discussed the properties of linear elements and higher order elements. After that, I have shown polynomial form of interpolation functions, that is 1D polynomial, 2D polynomial, 3D polynomial, what is their standard form, that we have discussed. And after that, I have discussed the generalized coordinates and how to calculate the generalized coordinates. How to calculate the generalized coordinates? Hello. How to calculate the generalized coordinates by using degree of the polynomial. Now you have written this polynomial for cubic three-dimensional element. Is there any doubt while writing the interpolation polynomial? Is there any doubt? Akshay Jaiswal, have you doubt while writing the interpolation polynomial?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, if you have doubt again, that will be clear in second content. Now, today I will explain how Pascal's triangle and tetrahedron is used to write the interpolation polynomial. Okay, and with the help of this Pascal's triangle and Pascal's tetrahedron, we can write the interpolation polynomial for any two-dimensional and three-dimensional element. It may be linear two-dimensional element, it may be higher order two-dimensional element, or it may be linear three-dimensional element, or it may be higher order three-dimensional element. Then we will discuss the convergence and compatibility requirement of interpolation polynomial. Then we will go for the derivation of the shape functions, or then we are going to use interpolation polynomials for simplex one-dimensional element. Here in this unit we will discuss only simplex elements, that is linear elements, and you have one last unit, in that we will discuss the higher order elements. Okay, now see this selection of interpolation polynomial or selection of order of interpolation polynomial. Generally it is used for writing the polynomial, selection of order of polynomial. Okay, now already I have discussed the, that is number of nodes equal to the number of generalized coordinates. That point we have discussed the, here number of nodes equal to the number of generalized coordinates. Already we have used this concept while writing this. Now next point is geometric isotropy and invariance. What is meaning of this I will tell you. See here, this is related to the element geometry. This is related to the element geometry. How it is related to the element geometry? Now see here, geometry of the element, it is described by using the coordinates. Described by using the coordinates means if you have this coordinate system, that is x and y coordinate system. Okay. Now when we have element, or we have meshed model, we can say we have meshed model like this, meshed model in the coordinate system. Geometry of each element is described by its coordinates. Its coordinates, that is x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, x4, y4, x5, y5, like that. That means geometry of element is described by coordinates. Okay. Now while describing these coordinates, each element has its own interpolation polynomial. Each element has its own interpolation polynomial. And while writing that interpolation polynomial, you have to remember this thing that already I have told you, that is, it should not violate the geometric isotropy. It should not violate the geometric isotropy, or it should not have geometric invariance. Okay, means what is meaning of this? See here, your interpolation polynomial of element should not have any bias towards the any coordinate, towards the any coordinate. Okay, means here this interpolation polynomial should not have you in any more weightage or more weightage to any of the coordinate. Okay, so here that will be described by symmetry of the Pascal's triangle. Symmetry of the Pascal's triangle. That means interpolation polynomial should not violate the symmetry of Pascal's triangle. Now, what is the Pascal's triangle? You see here this image. See here, this is the Pascal's triangle. This one is Pascal's triangle. You can see here, from here to here. This one is Pascal's triangle. Okay, this is your Pascal's triangle. Okay. Now this Pascal's triangle, your element should not violate this Pascal's triangle. Element should not violate this Pascal's triangle. Means what? See here, if we go for the linear element, linear element, now this is the axis of the Pascal's triangle. This vertical line, it is axis of the Pascal's triangle, and your polynomial should be symmetric about this axis. Okay. That means it should not violate the symmetry of Pascal's triangle. It is symmetric about the axis of the Pascal's triangle. Now, how it should be axis, how it is symmetric about the axis of the Pascal's triangle, that I will explain here. You see this. If we consider the linear triangular element, this is a linear triangular element. Okay. Now, what is the polynomial of linear triangular element? It is alpha 1 plus alpha 2 x plus alpha 3 y plus alpha 3 y. This is the polynomial of linear triangular element or linear two-dimensional element. Now you can see here there is one constant term. Here, that is your alpha 1, or coefficient of alpha 1 is 1. Next, second alpha 2, here this is x. Okay, alpha 2x, or multiplier of alpha 2 is x, and multiplier of alpha 3 is y. Okay, do you agree with this? Now, if we write this polynomial by maintaining the symmetry of Pascal's triangle, then we can get the appropriate polynomial, and we can give the same weightage to both coordinates. Now see here, now I will go to the next element. Now next element is quadratic two-dimensional element. Now already you know the polynomial of the quadratic two-dimensional element. Now for quadratic two-dimensional element, this is the quadratic two-dimensional element. Okay. Now your polynomial for quadratic two-dimensional element is alpha 1 plus alpha 2 x plus alpha 2x plus alpha 3 y plus alpha 4 x square, okay, plus alpha 5 y square plus alpha 6 xy. This is the polynomial for quadratic two-dimensional element. Now you can see here, if we map this with the Pascal's triangle, here this is a constant term, that is your alpha 1. Okay. Next one, x is there, it is multiplier of alpha 2. Okay. Next, y is there, it is multiplier of alpha 3. Okay. X square, it is multiplier of alpha 4. Y square, it is multiplier of alpha 5, and xy, it is at center, it is multiplier of alpha 6. Okay. Now you can see here if we consider this as the axis of the Pascal's triangle, this dotted line, then one x on one side, that is on left side, y is on right side, that is here this is maintaining the symmetry. Now x square is on left side, y square is on right side, this also maintaining the symmetry, and xy is at the center, and it is maintaining the symmetry of the Pascal's triangle. Have you got it? How this Pascal's triangle is useful for writing the interpolation polynomial. Now see here, this is for quadratic two-dimensional element, okay. Or now again I will take cubic two-dimensional element. Here it will start from here and it ends here, okay. Now this is cubic two-dimensional element. And one more thing you can see here, if we draw this triangle, you have node number 1 here, here is one more node, one here, 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 sorry, not here, your line is this one, node is here, okay, and here, 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 okay. Now you can see here, this is alpha 1, okay, this is alpha 2x, okay, plus alpha 3y plus alpha 4x square plus alpha 5 y square plus alpha 6 xy plus alpha 7 x cube, alpha 8 y cube, alpha 9 x square y, alpha 10 xy square. Are you getting this? Now see here, it is alpha 1, alpha 2x, alpha 3y, alpha 4x square, alpha 5y square, alpha 6xy, alpha 7x cube, alpha 8y cube, alpha 9x square y, alpha 10 x square, sorry, xy square, okay. Now in this way, if we maintain the symmetry of the Pascal's triangle, okay, then we can write the polynomial for two-dimensional element. Any doubt here? Any doubt? Abhijit Avsare. Abhijit. Aditya Mane.
Yes, sir. No doubt, sir.
Aditya Mane.
Yes, sir.
Now see here, just you have to maintain the Pascal's triangle, symmetry of the Pascal's triangle. Here it will start from 1, then linear xy, then quadratic x square y square xy, cubic x cube y cube x square y xy square, fourth order x raised to 4 y raised to 4 x cube y xy cube x square y square. Means here it is up to this one, it is a fourth order polynomial, okay. Is there any doubt? Someone want to ask something? If you have got this Pascal's triangle, then I will go to the next one. Akshay Shinde, have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I will go to the next Pascal's tetrahedron. Now Pascal's triangle is used to write the polynomial for two-dimensional element, and Pascal's tetrahedron is used to write the polynomial for three-dimensional elements. Now see here, in last case, it should not violate the Pascal's triangle, that is symmetry of Pascal's triangle. Here in case of three-dimensional elements, here your polynomial should not violate the symmetry of Pascal's tetrahedron. Means here this is a tetrahedron. If we write this as axis of the tetrahedron, your polynomial elements should be symmetric about this axis. Okay. Now how it will be, I will show you. Now here if we consider the three-dimensional linear element, 3D linear element, means it has 4 number of generalized coordinates and 4 nodes. Now you consider up to here, this tetrahedron, it will start from this 1 x, y and z, Now you can see here your polynomial is, first term is constant alpha 1, Second term is alpha 2 x x. Okay, here it is. Next is alpha 3 y, alpha 3 y. Next is your alpha 4 z, alpha 4 z. Okay, now you can see here, if we consider this as axis, this vertical line as an axis of the tetrahedron, this one. Okay, now you can see here vertical line means not it at z, it is at the center of this base triangle. It is at center of this base triangle. Okay, now see here, this is on one side, this is x, this is y, and this is z, and one is on line. Okay, therefore it is, this polynomial is symmetric about the x of the tetrahedron. Okay, next one, if we go for cubic element, now quadratic two-dimensional element. Now here you have to consider from here to here, that is this tetrahedron you have to consider. Okay, now here this is alpha 1. Okay, now this one is alpha 1, alpha 2 x, alpha 3 y, alpha 4 z, okay, this is up to here. Now for quadratic you have to add one more base, that is alpha 5 x square. Okay, next alpha 5, then alpha 6 y square. Okay, then alpha 7 z square, then you see this one, then alpha 8 xy, then alpha 9 yz, and alpha 10 xz. Okay, now this is the polynomial for quadratic three-dimensional element. You can see here alpha 1 is at top, it is constant, it is symmetric because it is on axis. X is on one side, y is on one side, and z is on third side. Okay, now next one, here x square is on one side, y square is on one side, z square is on one side, and xy, yz, and zx these are on three sides. Now when we maintain the symmetry, here there is axis passing through the center of these triangles. When we maintain the symmetry, you will get the quadratic term also, quadratic interpolation polynomial for three-dimensional element. Now you can get cubic interpolation polynomial also. Already you have written cubic interpolation polynomial. Now you check your cubic interpolation polynomial which you have written with this symmetry. Now Kunal Patil, have you written it? Yesterday I have asked you to write the interpolation polynomial for cubic three-dimensional element.
No, sir.
Why not? Amol
Sorry,
Patil.
sir.
Have you written? Amol Patil, whether he is here or not. Okay, Amol Patil is not present, I think. Atar, Arman Atar.
Yes, sir.
Now you tell me, here at top there is a alpha 1. Am I right? Okay,
Yes,
okay. Next here it is alpha 2.
Alpha 2,
Here it is
alpha 3,
alpha 3. Next at Z
Alpha
alpha 4. Now here
alpha 1,
alpha 5, here alpha
alpha 6,
6, here it is alpha 7, next alpha 8, okay, next at this location alpha 9,
9, and 10.
alpha 10, okay, this is quadratic. Now for cubic, here it is alpha 11, here it is alpha 12, okay, here it is alpha 13,
13,
next alpha 14, okay, next alpha 15, alpha 16, next alpha 17, alpha 18, alpha 19, and at middle it is alpha 20. Okay, now this polynomial you have seen, and this polynomial is maintaining the symmetry about the Pascal's tetrahedron, therefore it will not violate the geometric isotropy. Okay, see here your polynomial should not violating the geometric isotropy. Why it is requirement of the elements? Because here when we transfer it from global coordinate system to the local coordinate system is element based, okay, and your interpolation model or your field variable is function of this global coordinates, okay, global coordinates. Now when we transfer it from global coordinate to the local coordinate, and there is some relation between the global coordinate and local coordinates, okay, now when we give some extra weightage to any of the one coordinate, then it will be disturbed while transferring the polynomial from or element from global to the local coordinate. That means there also extra weightage is reflected while writing interpolation polynomial in terms of the local coordinate system. Okay, that's why you have to remember there should be same weightage to all global coordinates. Means in case of two-dimensional it should not violate the symmetry of Pascal's triangle, and in case of three-dimensional it should not violate the symmetry of uh, Pascal's tetrahedron. Okay. Now next one, convergence criteria. Convergence criteria. Now convergence criteria, in convergence criteria, first sentence you can see here. Your field variable must be continuous within the element. Must be continuous within the element. Now that can be possible by using polynomials only. Okay. Means if you consider any element, or if you consider this element, the polynomial which you are writing, that is phi is equal to alpha 1 plus alpha 2x plus alpha 3y, that should be continuous. That should be continuous in the element. There should not be break in the element. There should not be break in the element. Means what? See here your polynomial or your field variable is varying like this, and here it is breaking, and then it is varying like this. This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. Now I will show you by different colors here. Okay, I will draw this big element. Okay, now this is in xy coordinate system. This is your x coordinate system, and this is your y coordinate. Now when we plot the field variable, now it is a two-dimensional field variable. Now see here, your field variable should be continuous in the element, like this. Okay, are you getting this? Should be continuous in the element. Now okay, I will, for simplicity, I will take this triangular variation. Should be continuous in the element like this. Okay, there should not be break here. It is varying like this, and it is suddenly changing, and then it is moving like this, or there should not be any break. That means it is starting from here, then it is breaked, and then again it is starting. This is not acceptable. Your field variable must be continuous within the element, and polynomials have inbuilt property. What is that property? Polynomials are always continuous. It may be linear polynomial, it may be higher order polynomial. That polynomials are always continuous. Okay. that is functions which we are writing in terms of the coordinates. Functions which we are writing in terms of the coordinates. That is, if we take f of x, and if we take this is alpha 1 plus alpha 2x, okay, alpha 2x. Now this, if you observe this function is always continuous in the domain, okay. So polynomials are satisfying this requirement, that is a convergence requirement, that polynomials are always continuous, okay. Now next one, the uniform state of field variable and its a partial derivative up to highest order in the functional must be representation in the polynomial. Uniform states means what? Uniform states of the field variable. Now here, when we reduce the size of the elements, that means when we reduce the size of the elements like this, that is, if we use smaller and smaller elements, then your field variable at this location, these are approximately same. That means it is known as the uniform state of field variable. Means here, when we reduce the size of the elements, the values of the field variable approaching towards the constant value, that is known as the uniform state of the field variable, and that is possible because of the constant term in the field variable, that or variation of the field variable or interpolation polynomial, okay. Means here every polynomial, while writing every polynomial, what we are taking, we are starting from the constant term, we are starting from the alpha 1, okay. Now what is need of that alpha 1? Because of that alpha 1, we can get the uniform state of the field variable, okay. Means here, when we use smaller and smaller element, when we reduce the size of the element at very small elements, then your x or y or z, that global coordinates, the difference between these two elements or difference between the global coordinates of two elements is also very small, okay, and that approaches to the constant value of the field variable because of the your constant term in the polynomial. That means if we consider this alpha 1 plus alpha 2x for first element, now second element, it is alpha 1 plus alpha 2x, okay. Now here if we consider these two elements, this is one element and this is second element, from here to here, okay. Now if these two elements are very small, and when we use this polynomial for first element and this polynomial for second element, now here you have some field variable at this location, if these two elements are small, then distance between these two variables is also small. That means value of x for this first element and value of x for second element, these two values are matching, and you are getting this term as a negligible term, okay. And because of these two terms, we are getting the uniform state, or we are getting the constant value of the field variable, okay. Now next one, here I have written it's a partial derivative up to highest order in the functional. Functional means what? Functional is the potential energy which we have used in first unit. That is your functional. That is, in mathematics it is known as a functional, okay. In structural problems or in structural discipline, it is functional, okay. Now partial derivative up to highest order in the functional, it is in functional we have some differential equation, that is in functional there is some derivative, and that should have a representation in the interpolation polynomial. That means here if you have differential equation, or if you have potential energy of order 2, okay, of order 2, okay, then your polynomial phi must have representation in this derivative. Means if order of the polynomial or order of the this derivative is 2, and if we have used the first order polynomial, then this derivative is not possible by this derivative is not possible. So in this situation your interpolation polynomial should be second order. Okay, you can understand this one. You can understand this one. See here, if your potential energy is of order of derivative 2, and if you use this alpha 1 plus alpha 2 x alpha 1 plus alpha 2x as a interpolation polynomial, okay, as an interpolation polynomial, then we cannot calculate the derivative of this one. We cannot calculate the second derivative of this one. Okay, means this interpolation polynomial should not have representation in this derivative. Okay, because it is second degree or it is second order derivative, and this is a first order interpolation polynomial. Okay, when we differentiate this equation 2 times, you will get the 0 answer, because alpha 2 derivative of alpha 2 is 0. Okay, means it has no representation in this equation. Do you agree with this? See here, while selecting the interpolation polynomial, you have to check the derivative of hello. I am in lectures. Can you call me after 11 o'clock? See here, sorry for interruption. Here, this is the potential energy, or this is a functional, and it is a second order derivative. Highest order of this derivative is 2. And if you select the linear interpolation polynomial, then it has no representation in the derivative, or in this functional, or in this partial derivative. Okay, so this polynomial is not acceptable. For this type of functionals, we should have second order derivative. Okay, have you got it? Any doubt here? काय doubt आहे का विचारायचा? Here this is somewhat complicated concept, but you can understand. अक्षय पाटील, काय doubt आहे का? अक्षय पाटील,
येस सर.
बोला.
नाही काय सर.
बरं ठीक आहे. Okay, here this polynomial should have representation in the derivative. Okay, or highest order of the functional, derivative of highest order of the functional. म्हणजे ही polynomial आपण जेवढी फंक्शनलची डेरिव्हेटिव्ह आहे तिथपर्यंत डिफरन्शिएट करता आली पाहिजे. ओके, now why it is required that you can get, because when we differentiate that 2 times, you will get the 0 answer directly, and that will be not acceptable. Okay, now this is known as a convergence requirement. What is this convergence requirement? Already I have told you, when we reduce the size of the elements, our solution approaching to the accurate solution. Okay, if your polynomials are satisfying these 2 criteria, in addition to your geometric isotropic criteria, if your polynomial is satisfying these criteria, then we can get the convergence of the solution when we increase the number of elements, when we reduce the size of the elements. म्हणजे तुम्ही हे जर क्रायटेरिया सॅटिस्फाय केले नाहीत पॉलिनॉमियलनं, तर तुम्ही कॉन्व्हर्जन्स मिळू शकत नाही तुम्हाला. ओके, डू एग्री विथ दिस? म्हणजे तुम्ही एलिमेंट वाढवली तरी तुम्ही सोल्युशन ॲक्युरेट सोल्युशनकडे जाईल असं नाही. ओके, if these 2 criteria are not satisfied, if these 2 criteria are satisfied, then you can get the convergence of the solution. It is known as the convergence criteria of the solution. Next is the compatibility requirement. Compatibility requirement, it is related to the assembly of the elements. Now see here for field variable must be representation or compatible between the adjacent elements. Means if we consider this element, one element, and if we consider the second element like this, now interpolation polynomial of this element and interpolation polynomial of this element should be compatible. Means here this interpolation polynomial should be continuous, and this continuity is maintained by second element, okay, interposition polynomial of the second element. Do you agree with this? Okay, तुमचा जर phi इथून असा व्हॅरी होत असेल तर तोच कंटिन्युअस इथून घेतला पाहिजे आहे ह्या सेकंड एलिमेंट. अदरवाइज what will happen if there is no compatibility between the two elements or between the interposition polynomials of the two elements, then what will happen? You see here, this is the element and this is the interposition polynomial here, and this is the interposition polynomial here. Okay, then it may show overlapping of the solution, or there may be gap in the solution. You can understand here. This is the cantilever beam, and when we apply the load at this location, okay, your deflection is like this. Am I right? It is continuous. Deflection is continuous. Okay, means here if we plot the deflection curve, it will be continuous like this. Am I right? It will be continuous like this. See here, when your interpolation polynomial is not compatible, we are assuming interpolation polynomial for single element. If it is not compatible, then there may be gap in the interpolation, there may be gap in the deflection. That means what will happen here, if there is a gap, then it will be like this, it will be like this. Okay, we agree with this. That means here if we plot the elements or variation of the elements, here this may be gap or overlap between the variation of the field variable. लक्षात आहे का हा कन्सेप्ट? तर दोन एलिमेंटचे इंटरपोलेशन पॉलिनॉमियल जर त्याच्या बाउंड्रीवरती कम्पॅटेबल नसतील, म्हणजे बाउंड्रीवरती कनेक्ट नसतील किंवा बाउंड्रीवरती कंटिन्युअस नसतील, दोन एलिमेंटच्या बाउंड्रीवरती, तर तुमच्या सोल्युशन मध्ये पण गॅप पडणार. म्हणजे पहिल्या एलिमेंटचं सोल्युशन वेगळं असणार आहे, दुसऱ्या एलिमेंटचं सोल्युशन वेगळं असणार आहे, आणि ते सेपरेट होणार आहे. म्हणजे इथं तुमचं डिफ्लेक्शन कसं कंटिन्युअस पाहिजे आहे, पण जर गॅप असेल तर याचं डिफ्लेक्शन वेगळं असणार आहे आणि याचं डिफ्लेक्शन इथून स्टार्ट होणार आहे, असं वेगळं होणार आहे. म्हणजे दोन्हीमध्ये गॅप होणार आहे. ओके, हे कसं पाहिजे, याचं सोल्युशन इथं एंड झालं की इथूनच कंटिन्युअस दुसऱ्या एलिमेंटचं सोल्युशन पाहिजे आहे. ओके, दॅट विल be one requirement of the interposition polynomial. Okay, किंवा sometimes what will happen here this element may overlap on this element. म्हणजे दोन एलिमेंट असे असतील, तर one element may come like this, that is solution of one element may come like this. Okay, there may be overlapping. Do you agree with this? हा कन्सेप्ट लक्षात येतो का बा? Can anyone tell? Akshay Shinde, can you get it? Akshay Shinde, Sairaj Shinde.
Hello, sir.
Can you get it?
Yes, sir. म्हणजे ते वाचायला पाहिजे जरा सर. बलदेव.
वाचायला पाहिजे. ठीक आहे. Sairaj Shinde.
Yes, sir.
I will explain once again. See here, this is complicated for understanding. I will explain by example. You see here. Already I have explained deflection here. Now, if you want to calculate the deformation of the rod, and I have modeled, suppose this rod by two elements, and when I apply the load, yes sir, yes.
Sir, your screen is not visible right now for me.
Okay. I will check it. Is it visible now? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I will explain this concept, compatibility requirement. You see here. Okay, we will take the example of thermal problem. Now, suppose one rod is there. one rod is there. Okay, and there is a linear variation of the temperature. Linear variation of the temperature means when we plot the variation of the temperature, across the length of the this rod, here it is suppose 100 degree and one end is at 0 degree. One end is at 0 degree. Okay. Now see here, if there is a temperature variation is linear, means when we plot temperature versus length, then from 100 to 0, that variation should be like this, continuous. Am I right? That variation should be continuous. That means it is decreasing continuously from one end to the other end. Now I will mesh it by 2 or 3 limits. Now I am going to assume one interpolation polynomial for first element, suppose it is T1, one interpolation polynomial for second element, suppose it is T2, one interpolation polynomial for third element, suppose it is T3. Okay, this is a field variable. Now here this is actual variation. Now from finite element model, when I go to the plot the variation of field variable, okay, now I will use other color. Now see here, your first element is up to here. Am I right? First element is up to here. Now temperature variation for first element I have assumed by linear element, that is alpha 1 plus alpha 2x. Okay, because I am going to use linear elements. And temperature variation in the first element, it is continuous and like this. Okay, are you getting this? This is a temperature variation, or it is a variation of T1 in the first element. Now if I go to the second element, now interpolation polynomial of the second element, it should start from here. Am I right? It should start from here at this location. Okay, it should start from this location. Okay, if it start from here, like this, then there is a gap in the solution. You can see here, this is a gap in the solution. Do you agree with this? Okay, see here, this is the interpolation polynomial for first element. For second element, there is a other type of interpolation polynomial, that is alpha 1 plus alpha 2x. This is interpolation polynomial for second element, but both interpolation polynomials are same, but it is starting from this location. Okay, this location, and if there is a gap between these two solutions, these two interpolation polynomials, that is not satisfying the compatibility requirement. So here your second interpolation polynomial or interpolation polynomial of the second element, it should start from here. Okay, do you agree with this? Means your solution should be compatible, that means continuous at the boundaries of the element. Okay, at the boundaries of the element. If it is not continuous at the boundaries of element, then it is not compatible element. Okay, do you agree with this? Okay, now have you got it? Now next, the third element also you should have end point of the solution of the second element should be the starting point of the solution of third element. Okay, otherwise there will be gap in the solutions. Okay, now this can be achieved when we select the interpolation polynomial whose partial derivative up to higher order less than highest order appearing in the functional must be continuous at the element boundaries. Okay, if your functional is like this, d2 pi by dx square, this is a functional. Okay, and if your assumed polynomial is having representation in this functional, then it is convergence criteria. And if interpolation polynomial is having representation in this derivative, then it is satisfying the convergence criteria. Okay, Do you agree with this? Now see here, these concepts are complicated for understanding because it is mathematics, but in terms of the statements, okay, mathematical statements, okay, or in terms of the theoretical statements. Now see here, you can read this. I already have uploaded on PDF of this on Moodle. Okay, then if you have doubt, you can ask me. I will explain again also. Okay. Now I will go to the next one. Now interposition polynomial in terms of the global coordinate system. Interposition polynomial in terms of the global coordinate system. Now we will. Now see here, these concepts are very important. Already we have discussed it. Okay. That is in these equations, the equations which we are deriving here, these equations are very important equations we are using regularly for applications of finite element method. Okay, and in this unit we will go for simplex element. Simplex elements means linear elements, and same thing we are repeating for higher order elements in case of or during the last unit of this subject. Okay, now interposition polynomial in terms of the global coordinates. Here we will start with the global coordinates, and at the end of this unit we will go for the natural coordinates or local coordinates. Okay. Now we will start with the one-dimensional linear element, one-dimensional simplex element, and already I have covered this concept in first unit. Okay. Now. Okay. Now there is someone has started श्रेयस चौगले श्रेयस चौगले, you switch off your headphone. Shreyas Chowle, can you hear me? If you want to ask the question, you can ask now. Shreyas? Shreyas?
No, sir. By mistake, it's on.
Okay. Okay, you can switch off. Now I will start the one-dimensional simplex element or linear element in global coordinate system. Already I have covered it. In structural problems, I have covered this, and in that I have assumed u as a field variable. Okay. Now same concept we are using here, and we are writing the general equation. We are writing the general equation here. Now see here, one-dimensional simplex element. Simplex element is your linear element. Linear element. One-dimensional linear element. Okay. Now here one-dimensional linear element. Suppose this is a one-dimensional linear element, and for one-dimensional linear element there are two nodes, and that two nodes are I and j. Okay. Suppose I node is located at a distance xi from the origin, and j node is located at distance xj from the origin. Okay. Now it is used for a general discipline, that is phi is a field variable. Phi is a field variable. Okay. And this phi field variable, it is a general field variable. Okay. In case of structural analysis, it is a displacement. In case of thermal analysis, it is a temperature. Okay. Now this field variable is varying with this equation by alpha 1 plus alpha 2x. As it is a linear, we are using linear interposition polynomial. Now here alpha 1 and alpha 2 are the two generalized coordinates. We need to find the two generalized coordinates. Okay. Now for finding the generalized coordinates, we are using these equations for the nodes. Okay. That is at node I, if it is in variation of field variable, this equation should be satisfied at node I. If phi I is the field variable at node I, then this phi I can write as alpha 1 plus alpha 2 xi. Alpha 1 plus alpha 2 xi. Now same thing, when we write the same polynomial for node number j, then we can write phi j is equal to alpha 1 plus alpha 2 xj. Okay. Now here same thing we have done in structural analysis, in that we have taken u as a function field variable and it is a1 or a plus bx. We have taken equation a plus bx. Here we have taken alpha 1 and alpha 2. Now next you have to write the equation for, or you can write this equation in matrix form. Now this equation becomes phi I and phi j. This is your equation, a matrix of nodal values of the field variable, and in matrix it is 1 xi and 1 xj, okay, 1 xj into you have alpha 1, alpha 2, okay. Now from this you calculate the alpha 1 and alpha 2. Can you take the inverse of this xi and xj, or you can directly calculate? Is it necessary to show you how to calculate this alpha 1 and alpha 2 from these two equations? Is it necessary to show? अक्षय पाटील, कॅल्क्युलेट कसं करायचं दाखवायला पाहिजे काय?
Hello. Yes, sir.
Is it necessary?
Mm,
Okay.
I don't think so. Okay.
I will show you. Okay. You can take inverse of the matrix, or you can write the first equation for alpha 1 and second equation for alpha 2. Okay, I will write for second equation for alpha 1. Alpha 1 is equal to phi j minus alpha 2 xj, okay. Do you agree with this? Now you put this in this equation, okay. Now you will get alpha 2, okay. Alpha 2 is equal to, here you have phi j minus alpha 2 xj, okay. Do you agree with this? Now I will take these two terms on this side. It becomes, or you can take this phi j on this side. It is phi I minus phi j equal to alpha 2 I will take common, alpha 2 into xi minus xj. Am I right? Do you agree with this? When we put this in this equation, you will get alpha 2 into xi minus xj. After that I will change the sign of both sides. It becomes phi j minus phi I, okay, equal to alpha 2 into xj minus xi, okay, Now you divide by this term on this side, you will get alpha 2 equal to phi j minus phi I divided by xj minus xi. It is your alpha 2, okay. After that you put this in this equation, in alpha 1 equation, you can get the alpha 1, that is phi j minus phi I divided by xj minus xi. You replace this alpha 2 by this term, okay. You will get alpha 1, okay. Now by this you can calculate this, okay. I have not written here, okay. Here alpha 2 is calculated, alpha 2. Next I will do alpha 1. what you will get alpha 1? Alpha 1, when we put this alpha 1 in this alpha 2 in this equation, now we will get phi j minus alpha 2 is phi j minus phi j minus phi i divided by xj minus xi into xj, okay. Or now it becomes, you can see here, it becomes phi j xj minus phi I xi, okay, minus phi j xj, okay, plus phi j xj minus phi I xi, phi j xj. What happens here? This is phi j xj minus phi j xi. This is phi j xi. Next phi j xj, this plus phi I xi, बरोबर है ना. Phi j xj, next minus plus phi I xj, and divided by xj minus xi, Now this phi xi is there, phi j xi. Now this will be cancelled with phi j xj, and phi j xj will be cancelled, and remaining term is phi I xj, okay, minus phi j xi, and divided by xj minus xi, okay. Or now this is your alpha 1. Now you put alpha 1 and alpha 2 in this equation. Now what you will get here? You can see here you will get xj minus x upon L into phi I plus x minus xi upon phi I divided by L. L is what? L is the length of this element. Already I have covered it in first unit. You can check it by U. Now you have alpha 1 is phi I xj here, phi I xj, okay, minus phi j xi divided by xj minus xi is L, plus now your alpha 2 is phi j minus phi I divided by L, that is xj minus xi. Already we have derived, into x is there, okay. Now this is the polynomial. Next, now you combine the terms of phi xj minus x. Xj minus x is your phi, here it is minus sign. Xj minus x is a phi into phi plus x minus xi into phi j. You can see here xj minus x upon L into phi, x minus xi upon L into phi j. This term will be, this is your interposition polynomial. And phi x is equal to ni phi I plus nj phi j. Now what is ni nj here? Okay, here it is written. These are the shape functions. and your interposition polynomial is written in this form. That is nij into phi I phi j equal to n into phi. Already you have seen it. Shape functions ni equal to the xj minus x upon L, nj equal to the x minus x upon L. Akshay Shinde, whether I have covered this or not? Whether I have covered this? Yes.
सर बघतो आम्हीच. नेक्स्ट घ्या.
This I have covered in first unit in for U displacement. You can refer that also, and this also it is not complicated, it is simple one. Okay, it is shape functions ni equal to xj minus x upon L, nj equal to x minus x upon L. Okay, and this is your interposition polynomial. Okay, you read this, and here you just read this equation, you can understand it is very simple one. Okay, I will stop here. You just read. I have uploaded this one.
ओके सर.
Okay.